Hello, hello.
Okay.
Hey. Hey guys, how's it going? Hey Mark,
Hey, bud.
how are you doing?
Doing all right. How you doing?
Doing good. It's funny. I didn't bring it up like when I like started the call with you, but it's always humorous to hear, and it cannot be helped when you like play another game on the side when you hear like the clicky clacks. Um,
Absolutely. I was like, yeah, I know he hears it. He's not mentioned it. I know he hears it though.
what I guess it depends on the game, but sometimes like you hear a pattern to it. Sometimes for you, like I hear like a tap tap tap, and then it just goes
You
quiet.
hear the combo. He hears the
The
combo.
combo. Is that an Arc Systems combo? Nah, it's just Pirate
Yeah,
Warriors.
yep. And I have literally only got 2 achievements left before I've just maxed the game out.
Oh, really? Is it you just been
Yeah, it was
achievement hunting?
not hard for me at all.
Oh, okay. That's kind of how I was with whatchamacallit, the Scarlet Nexus. Like it's not really difficult to. Well, I guess it's also due in part by like me wanting to continue to jump into the side stuff, but yeah, it's not too difficult. Unlike on that end either.
Fighting waves of enemies is also a good way to pass time.
That's fair. I never even thought about it. Some people like would hop into like warrior games, and I was like, I guess I get the appeal of just like mowing down enemies like here and there. Um, but usually that's kind of like me kind of going through the course of things, just through the story, not like anywhere at any other time. But it's funny that you brought that up, and the fact that you were playing Pirate Warriors because I just went back because there were sales. I picked up two games I already owned digitally, but I was like, okay, well, I'm on this journey to pick up the physicals. So whenever there's a sale, oh, there's a sale. All right, let's go.
So,
So it's Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity that I picked up, and
I
there's
seriously
also
already owned that.
and there was also Pokemon Shield as well because I've only had the digital so far. So I was like, okay, it's finally on sale, so let's do it. But Hyrule Warriors, well, actually, both of them are on sale through GameStop. Hyrule Warriors is like $34. And I was like, that's pretty good. I'll
What a
take it.
steal.
And Shield's like 40, and I was like, it doesn't get really lower than that. So okay, I'll do
Take
it.
what you can get.
I'll take what I can get. So I don't know if I'm caught up with like on the back order of like digital owned but not physical. Except, well, Animal Crossing is one of them. I could think of that one, but I am on the road for that. So
On the road again.
on the road again. Also, I forgot to even like throw in the intro. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Justin,
Mark.
and you're watching or listening to episode 390 DangIT Prodcast. 10,
Almost 100.
10 more episodes until 400, in which we got nothing. I may will do something. I have no idea what we'd be doing specifically for 400.
Figure it out.
Yes. Dot, 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 dot. We'll figure it
All
out.
right.
We'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out. Don't worry. We got this. But that's
We got quite a podcast this time around, as far as just things within the Marvel like side of things.
the movie was good.
Yes, indeed. And on what Hawkeye was really good too.
Oh yeah, Hawkeye was. I haven't watched I haven't watched the most recent episode because my girlfriend hasn't been here.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay. I'll just say without any spoilers on Hawkeye side of things is that it's crazy like how it like I guess I'll say it's crazy that the next episode is the last episode considering where it leaves off from on this one.
Is it? Oh, is this series actually that short now?
Yeah. Well, I
Oh
mean,
my goodness!
that's kind of like
Already.
that's kind of the pace of things, like 6 to 7 episodes, like for these Disney Plus shows for sure.
You feel like it should be at least like close to 10.
Yeah, yeah. Wait, wasn't Falcon and Winter Soldier like about? No, it wasn't. It was like 6, 7.
Like you just keep forgetting that these are going to be a shorter run shows.
Yeah.
We're just like, wait, is that it?
All things considered, I think it's great. It just kind of resolves. Well, not really, really quickly, but they are roughly hour long shows, and the way that they deal with, just well, first of all, they are kind of jam packed, and if you literally put them all together in one, I mean, that's a pretty like short, but it's a mini marathon. of just like what could be like a self-contained movie, but it's actually a
Pretty
bunch of
much.
episodes. It's kind of like Demon Slayer. By the way, have you been catching up with the show?
I need to start because I know they started the new arc, the entertainment district arc. I still need
Yeah,
to check it out. I've heard it's good.
I've seen. I think the first, well, technically second episode of that new arc, because of course the first episode is like the aftermath, the recovery, some revelations here and there, and then the second episode is actually when they go to the locale. So
Because now they're finished with the anime telling of Mugen Train.
yeah, I haven't like actually watched. I never got around to watching that side of it. I just decided to just like hop in to the second arc, and it does it very well. Like I think without even having any type of like viewing of like the anime version take of Mugen Train's arc, it really just looks exactly like how the movie like, left off. I was like, damn, that's pretty smooth.
Seamless.
Yeah, I would still say like if you should like probably watch the movie too. It's pretty much available now, but if you also want to take the anime like route, that's totally fine too. Either way, it's digestible. But
You get it. You get it one way or the other.
mm-hmm. Well, what else was I gonna bring up? Because oh yeah, I was asking about like Demon Slayer. We were talking about Marvel as well. I was thinking, was there anything else I wanted to talk about like before we just dive into like Spider-Man? Shoot, I mean, I got pretty much as of like today, I pretty much have all my Christmas like gifts ready. Got it all focused on fam. Um, I'm not sure if I probably will share this like pretty much the week after. If we have a podcast like on Christmas, we might just like take a nice little breather just so we can all enjoy our respective families. But yeah, I pretty much got all my Christmas shopping done. Um, there's just been like a bunch of new stuff like showing up like in the house. Like I literally woke up to the sound of like people moving in the new fridge that we got.
New fridge.
New fridge hype.
New fridge just dropped.
New fridge just dropped. I gotta tell you, we from upgrading from a 2-door to a 4-door, mind blowing. Absolutely mind blowing. Damn, it's a big ass fridge.
A big ass fridge. It's an absolute unit of a fridge.
Oh my god, I'm kind of just glad because like a lot of our stuff, utilities are pretty dated. Like we have a dishwasher, right? But we don't actually use the dishwasher.
As I've learned in most Asian households.
Is that a thing? Like,
yep.
I thought it was just us being weird.
Nope.
What are we
actually pretty fucking common apparently in Asian households.
Yeah, well, my brother and I will try to break that in our own respective ways. But
because,
for now, oh, go ahead.
Like that's what I've heard. I've both heard it, been told it, and seen it.
I've seen.
You forget I've been going to my girlfriend's house more often. And guess what? They just use that shit as a fucking rack to hold shit. They don't use it to wash anything.
To be fair, that's true. That's kind of the case with us too. But the thing is that like I'm pretty sure that like my folks use it a little bit more, but like I hardly ever use the dishwasher rack. Even now it's used as a storage rack. I don't really use it because we have like a separate racks like right next to the sink.
It's legit just extra storage.
I mean that's fair. I get it.
The whole thing they use it for, and I'm like, because like it's a waste of water. I'm like, that's a waste of a dishwasher.
But it's so convenient. That's where I'm gonna be sitting at. Like when I finally push forward and do like, well, I probably won't install myself. I'm just gonna like buy the thing. But
someone come and call it.
Right. So I don't know. One of these days that's gonna change. But it's just one step because like a while back when my brother brought it up like in one of our like brothers, siblings, cousins gatherings. We just talked about like how our folks just have like a bunch of clutter all over, and for me I just tuned it out like cognitively, visually, and then but when he brought it up I realized and I just started paying attention that we have a lot of stuff just sitting around.
A lot of shit that's like, why is this here?
Right. And I think that with the addition of the new fridge has kind of brought up this opportunity for everything to be rearranged, and so it looks a little bit cleaner in the kitchen, is what I'm saying. But it's gonna get back because whatchamacallit, my dad, his brother actually gifted him the K cup coffee machine. We used to just have like a usual we used to just have like the usual Mr. Coffee coffee maker, which worked just fine too. But
Mr. Coffee?
Mr. Coffee, just like a
Is
general
that what
brand.
it's called?
Well, that's the brand that we went with, but essentially it's just like using ground coffee and
Classic glass pot.
yeah. And that's still really good for a family's like situation, but definitely like convenient, like if you're doing a single serving type of thing. I already gifted to them this one, but I pretty much doubled down and got one of those like K-cup like sorting drawers right underneath it. So it's just a lot more convenient just to have like all the K-cups like lined up, so we're not like digging from a box and trying not to accumulate more like space with more boxes. So that's super nice. And I got like one last like special gift just to like I guess increase the coffee like experience.
Increase the coffee. Just increase.
But I will probably present that to them like next week. So I'm looking forward to it. It's gonna be like a different experience. We're gonna consume coffee differently.
The Keurig way.
Hey, what's with the tube? What's the needle? Hey, hold on. We're gonna skip the middleman. We're gonna send it straight to your. We're gonna send it straight to your veins.
Straight to your veins. All right, let's go.
Like flick the needle.
Gotta get the air. Gotta get that air out.
Like no, stop.
That's the whole point of flicking it. Make sure we get the air out of the needle.
Such a
don't want any air bubbles. You'll die.
But let's see. Was there anything else? No, I guess that's pretty much everything. Listen, I before we like really dive into it, I gotta tell you that
you're
like,
trying to prolong this as much as you can. I could tell.
I'm not gonna be one of those YouTubers who like try to prolong the review, right? Or the reaction.
You're prolonging everything until then.
I'm not gonna prolong it for 4 minutes. I promise you. So I just want to tell you like the before and after of like before even like getting into the movie, just like getting to the movie theater and walking out of it. It's the first time in a while that I've seen a line. Like
it's Spider-Man, bro.
It is Spider, bro. But you gotta know that like this is a line not to buy tickets, but it's a line for people who already paid for tickets and need their like QR code scanned to get inside the building.
Scan.
I mean, it's a lot faster for sure. Definitely prefer that over, but still, like a line specifically to scan QR codes, and it like extended pretty far out, like down the ramp, like before you even get to the front of like the building. But that was nice. I went in, got the extra large popcorn, got that loyalty cup from Harkins, and I was like,
extra large. Dang, you ate a lot.
Well, not as much as I had hoped for, but it was definitely enough to be like, okay, well, I'm never gonna run out by the end of the movie. It's a 2.5 hour movie, but I will say, like walking out of it, like to know that I couldn't really share my thoughts like across, it was tough. I was like, man, dude,
called me at literally any moment.
Man, dude, that was so crazy. And you know what? Just prior to even like driving over to the theater, I was checking Twitter. And like my dumbass went to the trending section and immediately one name popped up. And I was like, oh, well, it's not really a spoiler per se. But I did keep that off like from the back of my head for a while. So now I just got reminded of it. So
what'd you do?
It was just like a trending name in the movie. And I was like, oh, well, we kind of like got an idea of like what it was. Anyway, so I'm glad that it wasn't anything crazy. There were images, very small images. I didn't even give myself time to process those. I just saw the name and I was like, okay, well, all right, let's turn off like Twitter for now.
But like, all right, that's enough.
It did not ruin the experience whatsoever. This movie was like fantastic. Okay, let's let's finally jump into this movie. We'll start with non-spoilers first, of course. I'm gonna set myself a little marker here to show that we are about to just start like talking about this movie. But yeah, so Mark, you had actually watched this slightly like, well, actually not slightly. You did watch this earlier than I did. Was it like
I watched it like at 11 o'clock.
11 o'clock Thursday night?
Friday morning.
Friday morning. Wait, so no, so as in like you left like Friday morning, like in the early AM?
Yeah.
Okay, got you. Because in that case,
Like I went and saw it like early during the day because A, ticket prices are better, and B,
that's fair.
not nearly as many people.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
So that way, it's a lot easier to get a seat.
Okay, got you. And for me, and you're totally right for doing that, because I was one of those who wanted to do this. We could talk about it in the podcast, but I did watch it like in like our most premier room, but with not the greatest seating. Like if you watched it, like you just have to be like in the center of the screen and you're good. I chose one that's like slightly off center.
I always choose dead center.
Yeah. But I still got like a lot of the movie. Like after a while, like the viewing angle for me kind of like phases out. It works when there's recliner chairs for sure when you're all watching it. But I was like on the left hand side. I was like up front. I was in the first 3 rows, and it's like one of those things where like it's a huge screen, so sometimes it's just nice to even be up close. I'll just like hit the recliner and just enjoy this movie. But yeah. And then I watched that at like 11 p.m. So I got out around like 1:30 something a.m.
Oh boy.
Because that's the perfect time for you. If you're not sleeping, you're thinking. So when I drove back home, I just wrote down as many thoughts I just had like on spot. And it's not a lot of, but there's a lot of things to even just dive in general about this movie. I will say overall, for those of you who just want like a very simple review, it's the most ambitious Spider-Man movie I've seen, right next to Spider-Verse.
It is Spider-Verse.
It is. It's like, well, actually, it's kind of like it's because of like how they deal with it. Well, hold on. That's touch bit spoilers. That's touch bit spoilers real quick, but it's great. It's really ambitious in both what it includes. Let me see my little notes here specifically to get the wording straight on that. Like it's the most ambitious just as far as like the threats, the stakes, the outcomes, the changes,
The depression.
the gravity of it is
The absolute depression.
it's huge in this movie, and you wonder like how in the world, if Spider-Man were to ever come back, how are they going to top this movie? Because like this one, there's a few like Marvel characters who actually have like 3 movies like to their name. Pretty much the original cast of the Avengers, well, minus Hulk right now.
There's a reason for that.
And there's a reason, have all like had 3 movies, and Spider-Man's he's kind of a more of a new age superhero in the MCU, or like a middle ground. And now he has like his 3 movies, but he's also had like cameos in like Infinity War, Civil War, obviously, and Endgame. So it's just like he's been through a lot, and this one really sets him up, really sets him up. And I don't know where they're gonna go with it, but I'm just glad that we've just had this opportunity to kind of just see this evolution for MCU Peter Parker / Spider-Man. This was a really good movie, and
Really good, really rough on the feelings.
it's super rough. I just don't even know how to without going to spoilers, I don't know how else to like talk about it.
To really review it, we have to go into the spoilers.
I wouldn't say that. I would just simply say just go watch it. But you do need context. That's all I can say.
That's why the spoilers are necessary.
Well, I mean, no, that's separate, because you obviously need to know the context of like all these other things. Well, not really. Just I'm not really talking about the spoiler stuff, but just talking about the MCU in general. Like you probably had to have caught up at this point, and
True.
and you'll truly like really appreciate it. Obviously, the previous Spider-Man movies, but a couple of contexts here and there, just anything relating to Spider-Man specifically, you want to catch up on to watch this one. But otherwise, if you got all that done, definitely go watch that. Especially in the theaters, people cheered the hell out of this one, and there's good reasons, which we will cover in the spoilers. So yeah,
Absolutely.
100% recommend it. It's possibly, if I had to rank this in all the MCU movies, it's high up there. Whatchamacallit,
It's definitely the best Spider-Man movie.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I would say it kind of you know what? It hits on a personal level, like just from me growing up with Spider-Man too. So I would put it like around that level of like Winter Soldier, Shang-Chi. Like it's up there. Maybe like top three.
It's definitely in top 10 Marvel movies of all time.
Yes. It is,
but I think it is the actual like definitive best Spider-Man movie.
Yeah. And there's definitely good reason for that. So all right, Mark, I'm ready. I'm ready for these spoilers to jump in.
You ready for the spoilers?
Yes. All right, everyone. Spoiler tag everywhere. I'm putting a marker right here. Yeah, we're doing full dive. If you don't want to know spoilers, and trust me, you don't want to know spoilers, get out. Get out.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So Daredevil.
So Stan Lee's not in this one.
That's unfortunate, but also Daredevil at the beginning. I was like, yes.
Yes. So
yes, the leaks were true.
What's his identity? Or I'm sorry, what's his actual name? Like Matthew Murdock?
Matthew Murdock. Dude, people in the theater were like, yeah.
It's so cool. Like he's so cool. I like as someone who has very low knowledge of Daredevil. Like, aside from the fact that he's blind and he kind of like he functions around Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, I know a little bit.
Yeah, aside from that, just the fact that he's in there, and before he leaves, you already get an idea of like that he has a lot more to him than we'll ever get to see like in the movie. But he's just gone that quick. What they did show was great. Pretty much,
he was they had him be Peter's lawyer for being revealed as Spider-Man.
Right.
And of course, someone threw a brick through the window, and this man just catches it, doesn't even flinch. It's like, how'd you do that? I'm a really good lawyer.
I'm a really good lawyer. I love that scene too, because it's one of those where like obviously Peter's the one to like catch that because his I think it's now the staple, the Peter tingle.
Little tingle.
It's one of those things where like it's just because of the placement, but essentially Daredevil catches the brick before Peter can, and just simply because of the placement of like where they are and where that brick was tossed. But that pretty much means like his senses are on par with Peter's, like right there. And I was
he was able to, like, even before Spider Sense, he was able to detect it.
So I was like, damn, dude, this guy, like I want to see more of him, like this particular Daredevil. But he's not there for any other portion of the movie. He's just there to like serve as a lawyer for Peter. And it kind of does a good job just kind of like wrapping up like the immediate scenario that happened like just at the end of Spider-Man like Far From Home. Obviously, like everyone's like swatting over like Peter in his current residence with Aunt May, and Happy's there too. So they just had to clear a bunch of that kind of stuff, and they moved to their new location, which is like Happy's like apartment.
It also does connect Daredevil to the MCU.
It does. Were there other references to the other like shows?
Not yet. Not that we saw. Like, but we do know this is saying that the Netflix shows might be coming to the MCU eventually.
Okay.
But so, because if we just saw Matthew Murdock in Hawkeye, like, you know, there we saw the like Kingpin, so
we
it's
saw
like,
the hand.
so I mean, obviously they're hinting at it,
Yeah,
but
that's
also
nice.
we move into the other parts of Peter struggling to get into Peter struggling to deal with this, getting colleges are rejecting him because of the controversy.
That's interesting now because obviously, like when we picked up with like him, he was pretty much freshman slash sophomore. Actually, he was kind of freshman, like in like homecoming and everything like that. But we now see that age because obviously I'm so used to. I grew up with like Rainey's Spider-Man, so he was also in high school, but there was a bit of him just like in the middle of college too. And this is him just trying to get acceptance letters to college, and I think it's a really good opportunity of a transition to happen there because I mean, like he just got his identity revealed, and now there was a portion where he just had to graduate from like high school, but now he's applying, and it kind of it kind of sucks. I get why it's like this, but it also really sucks for those who really want to get into college. Is the fact that when Ned reads his, right, like pretty much after doing all of, like the letters and all the rejections, there was the one that they wanted to go to, which is MIT. Peter, Ned, and MJ go to like MJ's like what was it,
Her workplace.
her workplace, to open up the
Coffee shop.
letters. Yes, and they open all together. They all didn't get accepted, but Ned read out specifically that due to controversy, recent controversy, we cannot accept you at this time. And I was like, damn, bro, like
That was like,
that was fucked. But like, there's side to be that like I get it, but also in this circumstance, it's fucked.
fuck Dash. All my homies hate Dash.
Wait, you mean you mean Flash? Flash got accepted.
I said Dash for some reason. It is Flash. My bad. Anyway,
That's okay.
I rephrased that. Just put Flash in it and saying the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Man said, I am Spider-Man's best friend. I was like, you are the biggest asshole.
I'm glad he didn't have too much of a like of an appearance. He was just he really was just kind of like the weird. He was obviously the one where people would be like, how does Flash Thompson now react with Peter being Spider-Man? And he just immediately pivots like, I'm Spider-Man's best friend, obviously, you know.
You were, yeah, clearly, you know.
Although
I'm just like this clout chasing bitch.
Although to be fair, he did like admire Spider-Man specifically. So
yeah, he loved Spider-Man because he didn't connect the dots with Peter.
What did he say? He was like, "Sup, Digwad?"
What's up, Dickwad?
I was like, "My
God." He sees now he knows he's Spider-Man. I'm so sorry.
Flash, I need to borrow your car, but it's not my car.
Not only that, in this, it's like he said he had to do he wanted to go to the lady who was doing the acceptance things to help get them into college, so he had to make a deal with Flash, like, I'll swing you to school for 2 weeks. And I'll tell everyone you're my best friend. Deal.
I'm not sure. I don't think he really followed through with that because he had other stuff he had to do. But
plus, no one remembers, so he doesn't have to do it anymore.
This is true. Man, dude, and it's so funny because like before he even convinced that, he went to Strange's place, and I get why, because like obviously that's where he's connecting dots here. He's like, okay, Strange, quick question, can you make it so everyone forgot like my secret identity? And you know, I want to point out is the fact that the trailer misled us in a certain like they did, because obviously like Wong was there for just a quick cameo, because at this point he's now his own like MCU celebrity. He's going helping out with other folk, obviously, and
we know that he is now the Sorcerer Supreme.
He is by technicality,
by a mere technicality.
That's so funny. But hey, I guess that means Strange has a lot more liberty in time, really, to do what he wants to do, as like a kind of like one of our more focused like main characters for sure, and that'll probably tie into his new movie.
We'll talk about that at the end.
Yeah. What was crazy was that the movie set it up so that like Strange was doing this behind like Wong's back, in the sense that he wasn't supposed to do this spell at the request of Peter, but in the movie they they did it so in a way that's kind of like a little bit more, I guess, appreciated, like for the viewers. It was just something where it's like, we're doing this for Peter, can we just try this out? Can we try it? And
Hasn't he been through enough?
yeah, and Wong was just like, just leave me out of this one.
He's
So
like, fine, just don't involve me in this.
right, so in a sense, in this scenario, he actually lets Strange do what he wants to do, as long as like he doesn't get involved. Wong doesn't get involved in any way, and so that's how it goes forward. Now the the sequence in which they break dimensions and stuff like that was pretty interesting. I think if
Annoying as fuck.
I get it. Like Peter just like haphazardly just walked up and see if Strange could do something, and he could. He really could. If Peter just came in there much more prepared, and that seemed to be like that seems
Stayed quiet.
that too, but essentially he was, yeah, like I guess the story kind of like carries that along, is that Peter, though has a lot more experience under his belt as Spider-Man, is still not really prepared in most scenarios. So there was obviously this preparation. He just asked Strange for this particular thing, but he didn't like specifically outline that like he wants certain people to know still. And then once Strange finds out that he didn't try to appeal the case, kicks him out.
He's like, you piece of shit.
Then Peter tries to convince that one lady from MIT to reconsider, like moreover MJ and Ned, but also him too later on. But then there was a whole crisis after that too. I mean,
Hello, Peter.
hello, Peter. But going back to Strange real quick, yeah, it's interesting that he really could have just shortened the movie if he just asked Peter, or Peter himself prepped it so he knows the exact foundation and the parameters of like the spell. He could have done it right then and there, end of the movie. But of course, that's not where the sales come from, so they had to extend it even more so.
Yup.
So they contained the spell, which we assume was done in, and that's it. But turns out there was a bit of leakage from that spell, which would show up later, like on the bridge. Funny, it's so funny that like we have a version of Peter who at this point cannot care to like keep a sacred identity anymore, because everyone knows at this point. So he really just he really just goes to locales as Spider-Man and immediately like nanosuits himself back into Peter.
I mean, hey, no point in hiding. There's no point in hiding now. Everyone already knows.
Yeah, so it's great in that respect. But we didn't find out about like all the different like villains from the two other cinematic like Spider-Man movies showing up. And I have to say, I absolutely love like one, their entry, and two, the references, and three, just them interacting with other villains from different Spider-Man movies.
Hello, Peter. Wait a minute. You're not Peter Parker. Wait, I am Peter Parker. It's like he doesn't understand that it's not his Peter Parker.
Yeah. I love that about Sandman later. It was just like, hey, because this is the Sandman right after like he turns to the good side, and so he recognizes Spider-Man. Is like, hey, it's me. Remember?
Wait.
Like,
What's up, dude? What's wrong? What's happening?
oh, I'm Spider-Man, but not your Spider-Man.
You're not my Spider-Man. I need help beating this guy. You give me a hand? Yeah, sure, I got you.
I was like, that was super nice. But then I guess he had to become a villain for this movie, so the way they had it set up, I think it works fine. It's just, it sucks though, because it's just that, you know, I figured that he would understand that Spider-Men are out there to help him out, but alrighty. I mean, Electro's like the biggest problem too.
Yeah, he was mostly just power hungry.
He was like, he finally got his body back, but he was like, oh, but I like this power though.
Ooh, I like this.
And I gotta say, seeing Green Goblin again, Norman Osborn, what was his actor's name? I keep forgetting like the last name.
I've seen the guy 1,000 times, but I just forget what his name is.
Willem, because he does
Willem
great work.
Dafoe?
Yes, Willem Dafoe. He's super good. It's like he never left. He never left the role. He's so good. I love. He still has that problem, right, where he has like two sides of him like arguing against each other. One's his side and the other one's like the much more like in power influence pretty much
The Green Goblin.
the Green Goblin. The funny thing is that he immediately destroys like his like mask, so you don't get to recognize like when he turns into Green Goblin. But for the first half of it, his mannerisms and his desperation to seek out like Peter was actually pretty touching in a way. I love how they connected it to Feast and Aunt May in that respect. Aunt May being like an even greater influence on Peter's actions, like in the later half of the
His
movie.
moral compass.
Yeah, because essentially, with all these villains showing up, Strange tells Peter after he captures like Dr. Connors. Also, Dr. Connors kind of gave like Strange a little bit of a hard time.
I know, Lizard Man over there.
It's so funny. It's funny when he started talking too.
Oh, he can talk.
Oh, dinosaurs talk.
But eventually, we see all the villains get captured.
Right.
And eventually, because they had a big decision, send them all back, and that led, or basically try to cure them, give them a second chance.
Right.
And that led to an altercation between Spider-Man and Doctor Strange.
Can I also say that it's seeing like obviously like right before Strange went in and was telling them that they gotta go and like if they die they die, just Peter kind of connecting with the villains, like specifically like Norman, like that hit differently. That was like definitely one of those cases where it's like, oh wait, we shouldn't send them back, hold on. But I get what Strange is coming from too, because like these are different dimensions. We have no right to like really go in and try to fix things when that's like their fate, like in their world.
Yeah, like, I mean, like they're not our people,
right? But like, I mean, obviously Aunt May, like, she literally works for people like who feel like their fates are like locked up and feel like they're useless, and it's her job to help them. And Spider-Man like picks a lot from Aunt May and Uncle Ben, so obviously naturally Spider-Man now is stuck, because now instead of like following like a higher like I guess higher power, which would be like one Nick Fury or like Doctor Strange, other like superheroes that are like above him in ranking and I guess like in age, he decides to kind of take matters in his own hands, and he takes away the spell from Doctor Strange, and they do have the altercation
in the mirror dimension of all things.
Yeah, I'm glad that this fight was really dope in many ways, in the sense that, I mean, yes, I think Doctor Strange came in a little bit before or a little after like Spider-Man's appearance, as far as like chronological like movie releases, but
a little bit after, I believe.
I would always say that like Doctor Strange, just simply by like the power of his sorcery and just simply, or the mystic arts, and just his age and experience, would give him the upper hand. But actually, no, not in this
only
case.
one thing that fucked him at the very beginning of their fight.
It was the Peter tingle.
The spider sense. I was like, that's got to be what that was. It has to be the fact that even without being in his body still has spider sense.
That's so funny. That's the funniest shit.
He's like, what,
how in the world are you doing this?
He's like, you should not be able to do that. As he's trying to get the box in Peter's hand, just keeps zip, 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 zip.
And then you see Peter, he just like swims over the Spider-Man body.
And that's like, this motherfucker.
That was really cool.
Like,
don't do that again.
That was one of the coolest things that ever happened to me. Don't ever do that again.
I would also say that like this fight and all the other fights alone, like, it's like kind of a testament to like how far like Peter has come, like just like in his fighting capabilities as Spider-Man. Because
very strategic.
I mean, like, first of all, he's just dealt with like regular thugs here and there, but then he actually went toe to toe with Captain America. He still got pretty swamped, but like he still like fought him, and now he's fighting literally a dude who's doing mystic arts and mirror worlds shit, and he actually came up on top.
Big brain.
It was big brain. It was a combination of the spider sense and Peter's general mobility through the
And
the
his
mirror world.
general knowledge of geometry.
His knowledge of geometry actually helped him out because Strange did not keep that in account. So that was big brain like stuff that happened. And so he left Strange in the mirror world so he couldn't have any more additional cameos until the end of the movie.
And so they set off on the mission to cure the Spider-Man villains by taking them to Happy's apartment.
Happy's apartment. Turns out that he has an arc reactor running a fabricator. So they just
literally make anything.
So yeah, they just like took it like piece by piece, and this is the best part that I love about it too, was the fact that Peter uses his smarts like much more effectively in this movie than the other ones, specifically to help these villains out. And I forget which one does he help out first? Was it Doc Ock?
Octavius.
Okay. All right.
Fixing Octavius was actually touching.
Oh my god, it was super touching. And this is something that people loved like in the theaters, was how he was able to get like Norman to help him, because it was just Norman. They were still in the little cellar, and he was just saying like, I'm kind of a scientist myself.
When he said that, I was like, I don't think that's Norman saying that.
Right? It's just like it's so funny. Well, no, it's pretty much it's a callback to when he first meets Tom Maguire's Spider-Man.
Yep.
So it was so great. So it was one of those things where like obviously the actor is fully well known for this, and it's like, okay, well, all right, yeah. To introduce myself specifically, I am a scientist myself. So both of them working together, I thought that was super cool. Helping Dr. Octavius, and for him to be the first person to really just kind of turn around.
And so grateful.
So grateful. My God, dude. It really was touching, because like this is a guy who was so lost in the sense that like he couldn't really control his own body because the arms were doing it for him.
The AI thing was like it was blocking. It's not only just blocking his own like control, giving the arms all the control. That's why he seemed off. He wasn't himself.
Yeah. Also, going back to Doc Ock, I love like their fight like on the bridge, and how that was the outcome, was the fact that nanotech literally saved the day.
Pairing new device.
I
was like, what is this shit? AirPods?
And him just kind of moving the car around. It's like, would you stop?
Stop that. Stop. No.
But yeah. So it really did look like they were on their way to like really fixing everyone. But unfortunately, there were some folks like in the mix that were just kind of uncertain about it, and we're just kind of waiting for an opportunity to like really like revolt. But they were pretty much kind of just chilling with how things were. It was really like Green Goblin that started acting up, and this is why I want to point out
he appeared.
Yeah, it was one of those things where like he was going to appear at a certain point in time, we just didn't know when. But this is a really cool thing that MCU Spider-Man now has, is just like this spider sense to really detect just like
I think he was trying to figure out who it was, because he's in the middle of all of them, and he feels his spider sense go off. They're like, "What's wrong?" They're all looking at him like, "What's up?" And he's just like looking around, looking at all of them, and that's when he makes that decision. It's Osborn.
Yeah, that was so interesting, because I was like, what is a brick gonna fall through the window again? Or because it was so weird, because it was like obviously like Doc Ock was behind him, like Norman was right behind him. They literally walk into the living room, and then it's just Peter just trying to like pinpoint this spider sense, like why is it like going off? He sensed danger like somewhere. And so it's so interesting that he's able to sense like what seems to be kind of like the intentions like of somebody.
Malicious intent.
I was like, that's some like Naruto level shit, where like once he gained like abilities of like Kurama, like just in his chakra control state, he was able to pinpoint evil, specifically evil.
Get some bad vibes.
So much so that like, what was it? Kisame was like, holy shit, you shouldn't have been able to detect me. What the? But
and then after that that's when like Goblin starts doing his monologue, convincing the others to fight, being better.
My God, dude, and that really sucked because, like, dude, Osborn was giving him the work.
I
He took him through.
forgot he was that strong.
Oh yeah, he's like really really strong because like whatever he put in him, the Green Goblin stuff. But
Like I just forgot he was that strong.
oh, he's super strong. I was like, fuck. Now he was a real menace, and just simply the apartment scene because he was literally taking Peter down floors.
And Octavius tried to help, but he had to retreat.
Yeah, and then obviously at that point, Sandman and Electro were kind of just, yeah, we'll just do this. It's weird though because like obviously Sandman wants to see his daughter, so
He's just whatever gets him home.
right. But he also just kind of, that was kind of weird because it almost seemed like he was convinced by like Green Goblin's like, I guess for like a split moment, like he lost his like cause for it, but he was just pretty much saying that like these powers aren't like curses to us, these are gifts. We're gods now. And so I guess that kind of like influenced him to think differently, even like without being able to see his daughter. He was just kind of caught up in the moment, maybe. But that was intense. Um, can you answer this?
All of this.
Oh, go ahead.
All of this led to a fight that. All this led to a fight to where Aunt May took the serum to cure the Green Goblin and ran downstairs while the fight ensued, and they ended up in the lobby.
Yeah. So, yeah. So she delivered this like. I guess the serum to Green Goblin, and during that little quick fight, like, was that when she got dealt like a really like fatal blow, or was that like?
Yeah, she had a baton ready to fight him, and Peter was asking her to run, and you saw the Green Goblin, his glider come in and hit her and throw her away.
Oh yeah, my God. That was when things got super real because one, Peter, through all of his efforts, failed to cure everyone, but also caused them to revolt and cause even more trouble, like out into the world, with what was it, Jameson like putting pressures on him like through the media, and now Aunt May like dies in his arms, and Happy,
and she still, even dying, she says they still did the right thing.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I totally forgot about this because I just kind of like put two and two together in the idea that like when Peter was talking to Tony Stark when he was getting recruited, was that like when you have this power and you become different, but you want to do all these other things to do different or something like that. I forget what the words were, but essentially he was leaning towards the idea of like of an Uncle Ben scenario when you have when you have the powers, but you don't use the powers like right then and there. It all falls on you now.
With great power comes great responsibility.
But it took Aunt May to really say those words, and it still took a little extra while because I feel like of all Spider-Men, Peter is the one who gets dealt with this like the hardest because he's been through like some pretty crazy battles. Like he's part of the Avengers, and he's still like not even like a college kid yet.
Still a kid.
So
he's the youngest.
Yeah. So I just feel like there's a lot more like pressure on him like than any other Spider-Man that I've seen. And so it's natural for him to feel like he's helpless at this point and he gives up. And this is where MJ and Ned try to like help him because like at this point like they know that they are the only people that Peter has as close.
Before that happened though, Happy pulled up blocking the police that were there. He looked, he saw Peter and Ben. He just had to look. He knew what had just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he said, Peter, run!
Oh my God, Happy.
And they shot him in the arm. They shot Peter in the arm.
He was fine after that, but definitely it was one of those things where like there's a lot more weight to him now. He's now a threat out there, and he just had to run away from it.
And they were trying, and that's when they had a feeling because they weren't hearing from Peter, and they had a plan. So if anything happened, they push the button and send everybody back. But before they did that, before they did, like, because Ned forgot he's got the magic ring
He
that
got that
that
slip
they
ring.
took from Stone, I said Doctor Stone,
Doctor Strange, yeah.
Doctor Strange. But yeah, and he said, "Man, wish Peter was here." And he moved his finger. He said, "Wait a minute."
Can you do that again? Ned's a
I wish
sorcerer. Ned's a sorcerer.
I wish you could go to Peter. And he makes the portal, and they see a Spider-Man.
They see a Spider-Man. Peter.
Peter. He's like, "Oh, hey!" He comes out. That's a different suit.
It's a different suit. You're also taller.
Andrew Garfield.
Oh my god, people went. Oh my god, it was great.
He was hilarious.
Oh my god, all the Spider-Men were hilarious.
Andrew Garfield. She's like, prove your Garfield. And she proves your Andrew Garfield. And she's just throwing like donuts at him. Prove your Peter. And like he's like, how? Stick to the ceiling.
Start calling. Carlson said, all right. He just jumps up and like hangs with like all 5 like digits.
I know.
She's like,
enough?
Is that enough? No, she's like, start crawling. Really?
Right.
This is not enough.
No, it's not enough. This is enough.
And then just Ned's grandma shows up and he's like, hey,
did you get the cobweb?
Yeah. Sure.
Then he crawls. She's like, thank you.
He crawls and he just like swats.
Thank you.
Okay. So I guess when I call for Spider-Man, we'll just get any Spider-Man. So we just have to find the right one. Okay, let's try it again. Find Peter.
Tobey Maguire.
The young pastor looking.
They said look like a young pastor, a cool pastor host.
I was like, that's foul, but kind of accurate.
And this one seemed very aware. Like Toby's Peter was more aware of the situation than anybody else, apparently, by the looks of it.
I think so. I think it's just simply intuition, where he was just transported into this new like New York, or well, I guess it's technically still Queens, and he just knows that like something's off. He sees in the news that Peter's like Parker's identity revealed, but that's not him. So he had the feeling he needed to go track him down. But that's when MJ picked him up.
Yep, and then he and Andrew have a fucking blast off with their webs, just
real quick. I loved it.
His grandma's like, "Hey, clean that up."
I'm sorry.
Like, oh, sorry.
She and really liked Toby.
Right? And then they say, "Okay, well, we got to find Peter. Is there anywhere your Peter would go to get away from it all?" And they said, "Yeah, there is a place." And they go to the school rooftop.
Yeah.
Where they have just what is described as pain.
Real pain, because you get it. Like, Peter is so lost. You
get Ned and MJ just hugging him as they're all crying. I'm just like, pain.
There's nothing, like, no words that really need to be said between, like, those three. They just been through, like, the worst. I mean, Peter said, like, himself, like, earlier that, like, it was so perfect when everyone he was close to, like, just knew his secret identity, and that was it. But, you know, Mysterio, like, was screwing him over for that. And now, like, everyone knows, and as a result, like, Peter's just trying to fix things, but now he just made things, like, 10 times worse with the villains showing up. So he feels so at fault, and with, obviously, Green Goblin and literally everyone... Well, every person who antagonizes Peter, just kind of giving them these false words like, you're at fault. This is your fault. Like, you're the cause of everything. Aunt May's death. The reason your friends are not going to college and not pursuing their dreams.
He's blaming himself.
Yeah. And you can't really put him at fault for that because, one, I mean, he's just simply trying to do these things. And there's just simply consequences to those actions too. But, he's not really thinking about like the big important thing that makes Spider-Man, and then also Peter, like himself, and the Spider-Man like show up to remind him of that.
Yeah, both Spider-Mans show up. He's like, whoa, hey.
I love this bit too because they were talking about like Uncle Ben.
So sad.
For Amazing Spider-Man, like he was saying that like Gwen was his MJ, and he couldn't save her. And he kicks himself every single time for that.
That hits harder later on when we talk about that. That hits hard.
Yeah. So much so that he himself kind of like has this rage inside of him. And that's when Peter, like, well, sorry, MCU Peter, like, confides with all of them that he just simply wants to kill Green Goblin for what he just did. And
which they're like, they don't blame him, but that's not what he should do.
right. So this is the best portion of, like, well, I mean, questionably, like, the best portion is where they all group together. It's like, we're here, let's do something, let's fix our villains, because that's what we do. And so they go into the lab and they just have like all the banter just like sprawled across every single thing you could possibly ever think of about these three Pacific Spider-Man interacting, all just like unfolded in the lab, in the final like battle setting. It was all there.
I want to talk about the dialogue in the final battle setting, because that was my favorite.
It was both funny but also very wholesome too. But I do want to like
so you make your own webs.
Obviously the whole Peter, yeah. Oh, you mean
Yeah.
the computer?
The computer. You have a best friend?
I did. You did? Yeah, he died in my arms. And then Ned took that so close to heart. He was like, "Oh."
And he pointed out like it was after that he had tried to kill Peter. And Ned was like super conscious around fucking our Peter.
Oh no. I mean, I kind of get it.
He's like, just in case.
Just in case. Hey Peter, listen. I promise I won't turn evil. We'll try to kill you.
Awesome.
Okay.
You see Andrew, he's like, thumbs up.
And you know what, this particular moment too, where like MJ like goes in and like comforts Peter, because you know like he's still willing to help, but like he's also kind of like uncertain, and so she kind of gives him confidence, and you just see like Andrew Garfield kind of like looking out to him, and just kind of remembering Gwen for that. And that's when I love this part when Toby goes in and kind of comforts him, gives him some confidence himself. He's just saying like, you know, MJ and I kind of worked it out. And
he's like, you'll find somebody.
You'll
Me
find.
and MJ, we did it.
So I was just like, damn, Andrew Garfield, I feel bad. I'm sorry.
But he's like, you'll find somebody.
Yeah, it hits even harder when you know the context of like Amazing Spider-Man, in the sense that like Gwen's like father was a cop, and you know his dying request was for him to stay the fuck away from Gwen, and at the end of the movie he was like, oh fuck that. And so it leads to all this. I was like, oh my god, so it hits even harder. I mean, I get it, it's real rough, but there was a lot of good things like just showing up otherwise, from just having all the Spider-Men like interact with each other.
After they've made all the cures and are setting up everything at the Statue of Liberty,
yeah,
they have their banter set up, and that was amazing. Just seeing them all chill and just talk. Like, I still say my favorite one is like, you make your own webs? How do you do it? We can't do that. We make ours, and we make ours. Like, how did your body makes them own? Like, how do you do that? He said, that's like asking me how I breathe. I don't know. I just do it. And just like, does it come out of other places?
Other places? Like, nope.
Dude,
nope,
everyone in the theater was cracking the fuck up at that.
Yeah, it's like, no, we just do it.
Be like, no, just the wrists. You forget web block? I have gotten web block.
Oh yeah, it's like, wait, how? It was just some existential crisis. I was like, oh my god, it really was.
Oh man, like I just like he cracked like Andrew and Toby like Andrew cracks Toby's back for him and everything.
Oh yeah. So what are you doing? I'm just stretching. Just got some like serious lower back. Oh, I got some too. Here, want me helping you with that?
Want me to crack it for you? Sure. Just like, you know, he gets into thinking of like cross your hands, or like the
Yeah.
signal to cross his hands around his chest.
Yeah.
Just oh yeah, there we go.
Oh man, and then Andrew Garfield was just kind of reaching out. I was like, you guys are amazing. I'm not much. And like they were both like, no, you're no, you're totally awesome. You're amazing.
It was essentially, I love you, bro. I love you, bro. I love you, bro.
He really just said that. Like, all right, ready, guys? He was like, I love you guys. I was like, oh,
Another.
oh.
It's like, I love you, me. I love you, me. I love you, me.
I never had brothers before. I was like, damn, they're real Spider Bros now.
And that's when the fight begins. The villains show up, and we get the best shot in the whole movie.
Yeah, everyone's spider pose.
All three Spider-Men in their spider pose on top of the tower. I'm like, that's a shot. That's a screenshot right there.
That's definitely. I was thinking that too. I did like the fact that they weren't used to like working as a team because none of them really were. Not to brag, if I was in the Avengers, that's amazing.
It's amazing.
What are the Avengers? Was that some kind of band?
Are you in a band? Like the other Spider-Mans don't have the Avengers where they're from.
They don't. And all of them, well, except for Peter, our Peter doesn't have like that like level of cooperation with people. So our Tom Holland Spider-Man actually led them. Spider-Man 1, Spider-Man 2. And pretty much just said like let's pick like our enemies like one by one. It's kind of a little harder than that, but like pick them one by one. Trust your Peter Tingle.
Yep, trust the tingle. And so the first one they cured was Sandman.
Yeah. The next one was Electro.
Yeah, it was. It was there. Yeah, I think it was Electro. Then it was Dr. Connors.
Yeah. And in the middle of that, that's when Doctor Strange like finally gets like sent back because the idea was to take the magic like cube, right, and just kind of keep it with Ned and MJ and just close themselves like through a portal. But Ned could not close it. He tried opening another one. That's where Strange comes in. He was like, I've been in there for like 12 hours, bro.
That was literally their version of I've been falling for 30 minutes.
Yeah. And I like the fact that like Strange just acknowledges like, well, Peter, it's really impressive that you actually gotten this far. But these guys gotta go still.
I know. He's like, you did that? And he's like, yeah. He's just like, It's like he was actually impressed by Ned. Like, maybe.
I'm not sure if I hope it becomes something, but maybe not, depending on the outcome later on.
It felt like he was hinting at something.
Right, and then Green Goblin then finally shows up into the fray. I'm thinking that like it was weird when like all the Spider-Man were going in trying to devise like all the solutions and everything like that. That the villains just kind of were doing their own thing, but we didn't get to see that. And I think with Green Goblin, we could just say that like maybe the serum just had a bit of a setback for him, so he just kind of like laid back for a little bit, but then like obviously came back in. Once he figured out where Peter was, my God, Green Goblin's still like incredibly witty, or well, yeah, I guess that, but also like he's also very like smart in like what he was doing. He planted a bomb like in the magic cube.
Yeah, he put a grenade in it.
I was like, oh my God, dude.
It's like, well, there goes the spell.
And the spell just goes haywire, and therefore Doctor Strange gets preoccupied, so he can't interfere anymore in the fight. So
he wasn't strong enough to do it without a container. He tried. He almost had it.
Yeah, he almost had it, but it was real rough. What else happened? There was a lot of crazy like fight sequences, but essentially the one with like Green Goblin was definitely
Peter essentially did a Halo, take the grenade out, boom, put it in there, and brought the glider down, and they were fighting on the ground.
Yeah,
dude, Peter was whooping his ass.
I'd love this fight in the sense that this was just like a pure enraged like Spider-Man, but like just it's weird because like this is probably the most combat I've seen of Peter like in a while. Like
he's usually never that physical.
Yeah, and it kind of is in stone because like he obviously just says like, nah, I just wanted to kill you myself, and then Norm was like, now we're talking.
I was like, this guy's got issues.
Oh my God, I hear Dueling Fates like right now in the back. Do 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 do.
The next thing you know, as they're fighting, like he basically stuck his hands and legs basically down with the web, and next thing you know, he just boom, 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 just constantly just hammering this dude. I'm like, Jesus.
I was like,
Christ.
oh my God, he's Like, if it weren't for like the serum that he has just on him as Green Goblin, he's he would have
He'd
died
be
already.
dead. And that's
Oh my god, you see like the other two Spider-Man, they're just looking. I'm like, oh my god, we gotta do something.
like we need to keep our eyes on him. And that's when Peter picks up the glider. I was like, oh, he's gonna impale him.
I was like, oh my god, and just plays exactly like how he died like in the original work. And of course, it was Tobey Maguire who had to stop him because he
And
was
he
the
got in
one.
between them and stopped the glider.
Because he was the one who killed like the person he thought killed like Uncle Ben, and knows from firsthand experience that vengeance doesn't cause or help anything. So it's only him that could stop him. And the moment he got in front of like between them, I knew what was gonna happen next. But it was just
Yeah,
one of those moments.
I was like, please don't do it. Please don't do it. Ching.
Damn, dude. And you know what? This was such a like crazy moment for Pete, or well, MC Peter, because he was still gonna go for it. He was still gonna like kill this dude, and then Toby like stopped him and reminded him like that's not what we do, dude.
That's not us.
That's not us. And there's nothing to get out of it when it comes to vengeance. He still gets like stabbed
By
and
the Green
falls out.
Goblin.
And with that rage, Peter was able to still contain himself to catch the serum that like Andrew throws to him and like deals to him. So I was like,
I know that you saw the look. He's like, oh, no, Norman's face. He's like, oh god, what did I do?
That was real rough because he knew like, oh my god, I know this Peter.
He's like, oh no.
But
and it's he's like, are you okay? Yeah, it's fine. I've been stabbed before.
I've he's so right. He's always been stabbed. It's funny when like he says goodbye to the other Peters. It's just like he still says like he is in very much so a lot of pain right now.
He's in a lot of pain. Also, one thing we need to go back to, before they got to the Green Goblin fight, the tower fell. Peter tried to save MJ but couldn't, and that's when Andrew saw it and saved her, and then asked if she was okay, and she said yeah, and you could so like he looked like
like such a redemption for him.
It's like he was about to cry, and she's like, "Are you okay?" Yeah, I'm okay.
Oh my god, man, that was real rough, but I guess there's no really words to say about that. It's just like, you know what it is, and here it is. He was able to like prevent like a tragedy that would have fallen upon like Peter and like carried on with them. It's exactly what he said. Like back on the school like rooftop, was that it's funny, school rooftop anime trope. I get it.
That's what I was thinking.
He was saying that like it just kept kicking him for such a long time, and he didn't want like our Peter to go through what he went through, and he was able to do it. He was able to do it. I was like, oh, what a guy.
And then that's when we find out Doctor Strange says there's no stopping them, but Peter comes with the idea, what if you just cast the spell again but make sure everybody forgets? And he's like, but if I do that, literally no one is ever gonna remember. No one's gonna remember who you are. That means anybody, everybody. He's
everybody.
Like, and Peter just says, do it.
Yes, do it. That
just
was
go say your goodbyes.
Yeah, I mean, okay, yeah, we'll go to the goodbyes. Obviously, he says goodbye to the other Spider-Man, and it's just like that was such a heartwarming thing because like he was just trying to express in words like how grateful he is to have this experience, to have the other Spider-Man like bestow upon him like assistance, help, but also just like what they've been through.
Yeah, it was like therapy.
Yeah. But he had to make quick and talk to MJ and Ned.
That was pain.
That was tough because like because it kept echoing the back of my head that MJ just told him like, like let's not try to do these things without talking to us first about it. But he had to do this because there's
no other way.
There was no other way because it was either they would remember and we had to deal with all these other people from different dimensions and times, or infinite. And that would have caused so much chaos, or you all just forget about him just so your lives can be at peace, but at the cost of just like losing a friend like that. That was tough. It was a
He
tough
said
call.
he said he'd promise he'd come find them. Ned gives him their handshake. He cries, and then MJ says that she loves him. They had the kiss, and then she says to tell him not to say it until she remembers again. I'm just like, ah.
Uh it was a tough call, but it was one that like couldn't really be avoided. And Peter just went with it because like he's done enough, and honestly he just wants everything to be at peace again. So with that, Strange casts a spell. We fade to white, and we just have Peter just walking on the side of the road going to the coffee shop of MJ's,
Rehearsing his lines.
rehearsing his lines, pretty much trying his best to convince her of everything that's happened, even if she doesn't remember. Um but he doesn't follow through with it.
Because he sees that their lives are so peaceful right now. He sees the bandage on her head.
Yeah. I was like, that was, hold on, I had like something about this specifically that I brought up, was the fact that he didn't need to do that. Like, this is one of those cases where like if he chose one thing or the other, I think it would have went out fine, but he ultimately chose to leave them alone. Just so
I think that they will eventually be back, but I think for right now he just wants to take it slow so they can live a little bit peaceful for a while.
yeah. It's real rough.
Because he really cares about them.
Yeah. But good God, does that make me feel super sad for Peter specifically?
No, it's just like my man just lost his best friend and the love of his life. They're alive, but they just don't remember who the fuck he is.
Yeah. He goes to the grave of Aunt May, and Happy's there. He obviously still remembers MJ, but he doesn't remember like Peter because of Spider-Man.
Which is it's just weird because it's weird for that because he technically knows Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He just doesn't know that Peter is Spider-Man.
That does open up a lot of questions about like the technicalities of like what people have been through and how it's associated with Peter. Because essentially everything happened, they just don't know the secret identity. Like, obviously Far From Home still happened. Like, people still believe that Spider-Man killed like Mysterio. Well, some people. They just don't know like it's connected. So
the odd thing is, it's like, does that mean that Ned and MJ still have all their memories of Spider-Man, but the Peter part just kind of blurred out?
Here's how I think of it. Ned actually did look up porn in school during the dance.
I was looking at porn.
He probably knows that he was trying to help out a Spider-Man or trying to do something there, but for what he knows, it could have just been porn.
I was looking at porn.
It's so funny.
And of course, I mean that's the thing because they don't remember that. All that is they don't remember he is Spider-Man, which makes me think: does MJ still have her memories of swinging around with Spider-Man?
She doesn't. Although she has experienced like talking to Peter before, but she just doesn't remember him just simply as a person. It could be because like, you know, they wouldn't otherwise spend a lot of time together either. But that was interesting. But I guess for the sake of this movie, to treat them as strangers at that point, it's like, yeah. That's rough.
Pain.
I think it's best, yeah. Like it really was like the new apartment saying like, okay, rent's due at the end of the month or the beginning of the next month or something like that, and you just see Peter looking out to this empty apartment room, and you realize that like he is alone. He is fully alone. He has no one to contact, no people who's close to him who knows the secret identity anyway. No one really
Not anymore.
No, actually, no one close to him. Period. And that's
he is a blank canvas.
And I just like it hurt to see that, but he had like a little bit of prep in his step, so I could kind of give it to him for that.
He's got optimism.
Yeah, I was like, damn, dude. And he's swinging around with, is that a suit that No, I'm sorry. Aunt May.
It looked like a classic Spider-Man suit.
Yeah, I was like, did Aunt May make that? at some point? I know she was sewing something.
Like they gave him a literal like the classic Spider-Man suit.
Yeah, I didn't get to see a lot of it just because it was at night, but well, the setting of the movie, for when it was happening, but he was really swinging on his own at that point. He has like his app which tells him like all the different crimes that are happening around city.
Yeah, the police scanner.
Yeah, and he just goes off. He's becoming he just establishes himself as the neighborhood friend or the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and that's the end of the movie. I was like, bruh, oh my god, that oh. I mean, it's cool that he's able to still carry on as Spider-Man and still do his stuff, but
at what cost?
At the cost of just like he no longer
Everything.
has. Yeah, he doesn't have the people close to him. He like as far as the support group, he lost it. So I don't know, dude. I'm left with mixed feelings on that regard. I think that
it's real rough.
I think he should have like reached out to MJ and Ned, but I also respect. I still respect like what he did like right then and there. He looked at them with so much like care. I was like, damn, okay, all right.
He just doesn't want them to get hurt.
Mm-hmm. Which reminds me, damn, dude, we're going to the fields for this one. You know, in Spider-Verse, we get introduced to Peter B. Parker and how like he spent like a lot of time like doing crimes, like a little bit too much time. Never invest in a restaurant named after a spider.
Never invest in a restaurant named after a spider.
MJ and I split up. Buried Aunt May, but handled it like a champion. Got to him in the shower, but the heartbreaking thing for Peter B. Parker was talking about MJ real quick and the fact that she wanted kids and it scared him. And it caused that distance. And it's exactly for this reason that Peter has decided to stay away from like MJ and Ned for this time being. It's because he would have people that are close to him, and if he gets compromised in his identity again, they get pulled into question again. Except this time, yeah. And Peter firsthand experiences that. He was trying to prevent this all from happening anyway. So it was that, yeah, that hit quite a lot. So my only problem now is that we don't know what's going to happen to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. One, due to rights, and two, because the movie decided to like end it the way it did.
I think he might still be signed on for a few movies.
I think they would just like, even if there's no contract for him right now, or at least a new one, they would definitely do it. I think that.
Yeah, I remember hearing something that he might still have movies that he signed on for.
Yeah, you know what's funny is before seeing the movie, seeing a preview of Uncharted.
Right.
Oh, Tom Holland. Spider-Man? So this is what you're doing?
And then getting a trailer for the new Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness.
Okay, that I wanted to bring that up. So, this is all like kind of post-credit stuff. You know, there's a whole Venom thing, but I'm gonna be 100% honest.
That Venom thing, I was like, you've got to be shitting me.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't really care for it. The only thing that came out of that was just like a little bit of Venom, like at the end, like a little bit.
I was like, wait a minute, why didn't the rest of him go?
I have no idea. So I didn't want to think any more about it, but I get it. Sony, Columbia Pictures. All right, I get you. See where you're coming from. But then the actual like end credits, like, so there's obviously like the visual credits that you get to see, like super cool, just like animated works, and then there's the actual credits rolling, and at the end of that, we don't get your standard like after credits scene. It's an actual trailer. And so weird to see that.
I know, it was like, this is a whole trailer.
It's a whole ass trailer. But so Doctor Strange, I say this is such a like weird juxtaposition because obviously Doctor Strange had like a lot of stuff happening in, you know, Spider-Man's movie, and now the focus is now specifically on Doctor Strange dealing with like crazy stuff that happens. Yeah. The repercussions that were to even cast a spell in the first place. He said that he didn't want this all to happen. He saw There was a bit of him marrying like that one girl, wasn't it? Um, the very person who passed, and it led to the birth of like the evil Doctor Strange.
They brought it in. They brought it in. I was like, no.
They also brought in Wanda. That was kind of like a lot of people's feelings about it too.
Well, that was expected.
That was definitely expected. The fact is that he needs her help. He's not there because of the stuff that happened in Westfield. It was because he needs her help.
Dude, just when I saw that Eve, they said the greatest threat to our universe is you, and we see, just is Doctor Strange, the other Doctor Strange. He's like, he's just laughing. I was like, oh fuck.
I was like, oh,
This ain't good.
it spells absolute evil for everyone involved.
He's too powerful.
I'm over here still thinking like, can we get like a confirmation about the Eternals being a thing that Doctor Strange is aware of? Because I just want that to be well known. But I understand that like he has other things to worry about now. Oh my god!
I feel like he would. I feel like he would know about the Eternals.
Yeah, I feel so too. But man, dude, that was interesting. It definitely sets things up, and that's what I was saying about like we have no idea what's gonna happen to Spider-Man now because Doctor Strange literally took the front there. They even gave him text like Doctor Strange will return. You know,
I know. Didn't even say Spider-Man will return. Just Doctor Strange will return.
I was like, oh no, they sealed his fate. But you know what? If Peter leaves like the way it is, then that's okay too. I keep saying that like MCU Peter has been through so much, like more than I've seen of other Spider-Man. Granted, the only Spider-Man that I'm really well acquainted with was Raimi Spider-Man movies, which there by itself have a lot that happened with Peter's like journey, but this one's just so dramatic and a lot more heavy too because he's so involved in the MCU and now deals with the personal stuff. Every single movie had a moment where Peter was as Lois, but he always like overcame it by reaffirming like who he is and the powers that he has. It's just so cool to see that journey because like he used to just be a kid from Queens who just got bitten by a radioactive spider and is now trying to be his own little superhero, trying to join the Avengers. But he now knows the weight of all of that now. His mentor passes, like other few people like close to him pass, his identity gets compromised. People like he's close to get compromised. And he's just trying to shoulder
going wrong.
He's just trying to shoulder everything.
Like, give the man a break.
I know.
Shit just keeps going wrong.
But the way he carries it out, like you see the determination in his eyes when he tells Strange to just do it. Cast that spell. Do it.
Like he found his resolve.
I was like, holy shit, dude. Like I get any other person. I get it. Oh my god. So I don't know if there's anything else I want to say except for like shout outs to Ned in a cape. Oh, thank you, Cape Guy.
Thank you, Cape Guy.
Man. I'm trying to look at like my other stuff here. Yeah, I did say that each Spider-Man had like their own like little bit, and I love the result that they have, or at least rather the scenes that they have with the other villains too.
Mm-hmm.
Especially Dr. Octavius. It was like, how are you doing, Peter? I'm like, I'm just hanging in there.
It was so wholesome.
I was like, damn, dude. And you know,
so fucking wholesome.
Also Electro in Spider-Man or Andrew Garfield. I was like, that was touching too because it really was a guy who, you know, he didn't like have like the greatest life in the world, and you know,
he was the sweetest guy.
Oh my god. Oh my god. When they were trading off like the villain origin stories.
And he was the sweetest guy until he fell into that vat of electric eels.
Electric eels. Tobey Maguire's like, that'll do it.
I'll do it.
Oh, and the villain's trading off like, fell in a bath of eels. I fell into a superconductor. Ooh, watch where you step.
Watch where you step.
I was like, oh my god.
So they all shared that same they fell in something.
And they all actually perished. I was like, damn, that's, you know what?
Watch where you step.
Ooh, that was real rough. But yeah, just again seeing Electro, the fact that like he was so like influenced by Spider-Man, that he got recognized from, but he kind of forgot who he was, so that kind of hurt him a little bit. I was like, damn, dude. It was a tragic backstory, but
It really was.
but yeah, Peter's out there all alone now, and I'm just like, I have mixed feelings there, and I'm hopeful that he finds like people close to him to reconnect with. Maybe like another Gwen could be involved, like maybe not romantically, but just simply like a new character, or maybe if we're going to boost the mature rating here, Black Cat.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh, okay, sorry for jumping in the chat. He was saying that definitely the best Spider-Man film that Tom's done, not only for the spectacle but the character work as well. Electro, Andrew just making that reference to Miles was hilarious. Oh yeah, that's right. You were such a good kid. You were so nice. Figured you were black. I was like, oh,
I know. I was like, there's gotta be a black Spider-Man out there somewhere. I was like, if only he knew.
Do you think any of those Spider-Men will have some sort of appearance in Across the Spider-Verse?
It's heavily possible.
It's heavily possible. I think so too. I personally can't see it, but if they did, I would go batshit crazy. Have you seen all the memes of like all the things that Gwen sees in that sketchbook?
Yep.
Oh my god.
One that Kristoff sent.
What the fuck, Miles?
Yeah.
Ooh. Man, I'm looking forward to like Across the Spider-Verse. But I gotta say, like, though, like that one's like the movie production side like of Spider-Verse is so out there as far as just like how much work was involved. I have to say that this MCU Spider-Man was like the most ambitious that I've ever seen, like of the Spider-Man films, and I don't know what they'll do with Spider-Man afterwards. I hope they do something, but if they do, I have no idea what they're gonna do.
There's a couple different paths they could go.
I guess so. Like I said, Black Cat, bump up the rating.
Bump up the rate just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just just slip that. Oh my god, it's a great movie. I'm gonna be thinking about that like over the weekend.
Gonna be in your thoughts.
Yeah, because it speaks to me a little bit more so because one, I think because like technically speaking, I am a little bit closer to like Peter's age by the end of this movie than I would be for any other like Marvel like superhero, right? Because at that point, like a lot of the veterans are pretty old now. Like maybe Hawkeye's in his 40s or 50s at this point, or 30s really, and he just suffered a lot to hearing aid. And maybe Wanda would probably be close too, but I guess, but also like Wanda's like Pacific because there's a lot of trauma there. But
There's also Kate Bishop.
Yeah, well, I kind of really can't connect with her a lot because she's kind of like she is super talented. It's like her mother said, like she had skills, she had like brain, she had money, she has all of that, and so I don't really connect with her, especially with like her super confidence. But I think
You guys are college age though.
I guess so. But I think with Peter, like I connect with him more because one, I'm kind of like more of a Spider-Man fan there, but also just seeing him he's kind of the only like superhero that we see that has to constantly like balance like his own life, but also like Spider-Man,
This is
and
true.
for him to sacrifice so much for that, it's man, it's just, even if I don't like relate specifically to like what he goes through, but like the moral compass is there, and I think it's something that a lot of people try to align to. It's kind of like as Stan Lee said, like the mask fits eventually.
Yep. Stan was right.
Also, returns are not accepted.
Returns do not accept.
Man, is again, I'm still rolling over the how Spider-Man became a thing. I thought of this Spider Kid guy. The fuck, Stan Lee? That's stupid. Go back to the drawing board. Hey, Stan Lee. Weeks later, you know that Spider guy. You know that the idea I love so much. Let's go with that.
The idea I love so much. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Whatever you say. Became one of the most famous superheroes of all time.
Mm. Oh, you know what we also have like other heroes like in the works too. Like Miss Marvel just came up to the back of my head. I was like, oh, they could do something. They could.
She's younger.
Yeah, but she could also be involved in another Spider-Man movie. Ooh, that could be something. That could be something. But also Daredevil too.
Yeah, there's some younger folks that are coming.
Yeah. Man, it's a lot, but okay. I think that's everything that I wanted to talk about. Like it's a fantastic movie. 100% recommend it. Like it's a 2.5 hour movie, so it drains me a lot, but it's a good one. Like, could we say if we combine all the Hawkeye episodes right now, would it like surpass the watch time of Spider-Man No Way Home? Just like 5 episodes so far, and they're like around like 40 minutes each. So yeah, this one felt like super like compounded into each other. So many things happened in that movie. I think I started questioning how long the movie was by the time that like the villains entered like Happy's apartment. I was like, wait, how long is this movie?
You're like, wait a minute, hold up.
It's taking a while. Like we had like a pretty good fight sequence with Doctor Strange, so what's happening going forward?
Wait, how long have we been sitting here?
And I think when Andrew Garfield first appeared, I was like, wait, how long is this movie again?
Like, wait, hold up. I have so many questions.
Shout out saying that as well. Yeah, it's weird. Like my perception of the movie's length was taking so long. I was also like, I was telling you, I got like the extra large popcorn. I also got like the new loyalty cup they got. This is a size medium, and I had to like space out my drinking just so I don't use the bathroom again.
Gary, I underestimated the length of this movie.
I actually stopped drinking after a while. And I was like, I think I'm okay. And then once I saw like the end of the movie up to the horizon, I started finishing my drink. I'm like, oh, okay.
All right, I can drink.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, it was, man. Again, it's one of those top movies for me. Like it's like within the top 3. That would be like Sun for Winter Soldier. I think Winter Soldier and Civil War are kind of in the same slot with each other, but I put Shang-Chi, and I would also like squeeze in like No Way Home in there. And those are just like individual Marvel movies, just like the ones with just a focused cast of characters. Mm-hmm. But man, it was really good, all things considered. I thought that Far From Home was just like, it was an okay movie. Like I liked it, but it was kind of a weird one because it dealt with that weird period after like the blip.
The blip.
And it felt much more of a comedy movie for most parts, but there was also like some crazy stuff that they were tying in with Mysterio, so I was happy about that. But yeah, I would say that like Far From Home really dug it in and just showed like all these great things about like the Spider-Man universe, and just also being fully aware that like of the MCU.
Oh yeah, No Way Home definitely hit a home run for sure.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I guess what I was trying to say is like at the end was that like if I wasn't so burned out by watching that movie, I'd probably watch it again. Maybe when the time comes, when I can finally sit down and maybe watch it with other people, we can have like a full talk about that later again. But okay, I think that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about for the podcast. A lot of it was specifically on the Marvel stuff. Essentially, what I want to say also was just that like with Hawkeye, definitely check that out because good lord, the latest episode is just like it's phenomenal. That's all I can really say.
Understandable.
But the last episode is gonna come in next week, and I'm like, I cannot believe they're gonna try to wrap this up.
Gonna try to wrap this up the pretty bow on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. I think that's everything.
All right.
All right. I guess what I can call it here. It's weird because I'm like Peter. I'm saying goodbye to like MJ and Ned. I'm saying goodbye to everyone actually. And it's like, damn, we're just going to bury the hatchet with this one. Well, we don't have to, but I'm like, that's what it feels like when we leave off from this topic, because I was literally like up here like late at night, like this morning, writing this stuff down because there was so much in this movie, and to get the idea that it really is just like a goodbye to Spider-Man for now, but it is a goodbye nonetheless. It leaves you empty. I feel like that apartment that Peter just moved into, it's an empty apartment.
You're right.
But I guess for now I'll just keep like I'll bug our Facebook chat about it later on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I would expect no less.
Correct. It's just a tree, dude.
Oh yeah, just a tree, dude.
Yeah.
Send a tree by accident, just a tree, dude.
It's so funny because then there's a Groot out there.
It's another group.
Yeah. Okay. We'll call it here. So thank you guys so much for jumping in for the discussions here. If you guys have like watched the movie, specifically, yeah, I hope you've also felt the same way. And if you haven't watched the movie, what are you doing?
Go out there, watch it right now.
Get out! Go watch that movie too.
Get out!
Wherever the funny goes deserves to be there, specifically if it's to make another Spider-Man movie. But okay, we'll go ahead and call it here. Thank you guys so much for watching, tuning in for the episode of DangIT Prodcast. This is episode 390. My name is Justin.
Mark.
And thanks for watching. # bye, everyone.
Buddy up.